Good morning and welcome to WKNI TV 25 Good News segment. And it's always great and good news to have a beautiful young lady on our show. And to my left is Susan Harris, the EMA director here of Covington County. And you've been there now for a number of years, and well, a few years. And you were also before the 911 director as well. So you're very versed in knowing what's going on. And you've been on talking about this subject many, many times with us. And it looks like we have an interesting season coming up. The 2013 hurricane season begins in, what, 3 days?
June 1st.
And so what are they predicting? I mean, are we going to have some...
I've seen a couple of predictions sent to me, just kind of moderate predictions, but like I told you earlier, I don't look at those. It's my job to think that this is the worst season ever it's going to be, so I can be prepared and make sure that everybody else is prepared. Because really, they don't know. I mean, they don't know for sure what we can get, so we just need to be prepared.
And prepared is important because when one of these things hit, we have short memories, okay? Mm-hmm. We had Ivan here not long ago. We had Opal not long before that. Katrina was a little bit on us over here. Excuse me. And folks sit there and they go, well, yeah, but, you know, not this year. If you were here during Ivan, let's just say that, you know how we were. In Covington County alone, we were out of power, like, what, for 2 days, 3 days in certain areas. And then, you know, as you went further toward Kanaka County, where I called it ground zero, where I was at because I was in Evergreen and I was a shelter manager for the Red Cross, that eye of the hurricane, we watched it go over that building. But we got a lot of damage. We got a lot of situations that happened here, and people just needed help. Mm-hmm. And there's ways to get around that. I mean, from needing help, unless it's like, you know, limb on the building or something like that, or if you're stranded or something. But you can really take care of yourself for a number of days. And can you tell us how we can do that?
Yeah, by being prepared. First of all, you've got to know what's coming. So you got to have your information. You need several sources of information coming in. You know, your battery, radios, your TV. Somehow you've got to have several sources of information coming in. Before a tornado hits, you have plenty of hurricane. Excuse me.
We'll talk about tornadoes in a minute.
Before you have a hurricane hit, you have plenty of time. Not like a tornado. You have plenty of days to get prepared, to get your yards, all the things that could be flying objects out of your yards. Get prepared. And also, just like with tornado season or hurricane season, you know if your structure that you live in is safe or not. If it's not, you need to make preparations, because we do not have shelters that we can open up and the whole county come to. We just don't have that. So you need to talk with your neighbors, talk to family members, your church you go to. Be prepared to have a structure you can go to that's safe.
And that's important, because a lot of folks live in mobile homes, or they live in these prefabricated homes that, to me, they're built like mobile homes, but they look like homes. You know what I'm saying? I guess they do too. But it's only like 1.5 inch, 2 inch thick wood and particle board and all this other stuff in between you and outside.
Right.
And that's not going to hold up at 150, 130 mile an hour winds.
Right. But when the hurricane is approaching, that is not a time to realize that.
Well, we had a fatality here, I think, during Ivan, where somebody walked outside their yard by the swimming pool to check on something. A tree limb fell on them and killed them.
During Ivan, I was not the EMA director. That was my time away. So I don't have a lot of the information on Ivan when it come through. But
I remember that. And you know, it was tragic because a family member went outside to check on something, and you don't go outside during these things. I mean, if you're in your home and you're in a safe place, you need to stay inside. Now, folks sit there and they say, well, I tape my windows up, I pick up all my yard trash and all that. Why would you tape windows?
For your security, for air pressure. And also things that are, you know, a lot of people do the plywood still. Even I've had several people talk about that in Covington County. You know, usually you hear it more south of us, but, you know, they experienced Opal things like that too. So they do the plywood and all.
I know we blocked everything off with plywood back when Ivan came through at the old studio we had on East 3 Street, and you could actually see the windows breathing and the wood breathing. That was nuts.
Yes, it's scary. I mean, it really is the force of these systems that come through. I mean, they can do major damage, and you just need to be able to prepare yourself and your family.
What can we tell folks out there? Now, be honest with you, I believe, and this is just my estimate, but I believe local television will be off the air. The cable systems will be down, okay? Because that's usually where the limbs and everything fall and chop things up. Power's going to be off in most areas. They're going to have some kind of self-powered generating radio. They've got those ones with the handles on them. And a generator, or both.
And your battery backup, because you have your NOAA weather radios that are very important, that you can get just weather information, or your AM/FM radios possibly could pick up something. But the NOAA weather radios are the key to have in each home, so you can have the information. And you can't go outside and see what's actually happening, because you don't know what's coming up behind it. Just like the eye of a hurricane, I always hear people going out trying to work on stuff. Well, you don't know how big the eye is. You don't know how much time you have before the next system's coming through. So that's when you need your radios, your NOAA weather radios, to get that information for you. Usually
where the main strike is, or where the heavy winds and stuff are, there are no local information. I mean, cell phones are down.
Yeah.
AM/FM radios are down because there's no power.
Yeah.
So, you've got to have that NOAA weather radio, because that's coming in from elsewhere. That's not coming in from the local area, and it's giving you your local updates with the weather coming at you and things like that. So it's very important. I'll tell you an example of walking out in the ice. Mentioned earlier, I walked out with 2 state troopers that were at my shelter at the elementary school in Evergreen during the eye. And we thought, wow, it's over, it's just calm, and actually it was warm, okay? It was like really warm, and I was like, wow, this is weird, okay? Then all of a sudden we heard a shrill, and we looked over, and there was a rope tornado coming down the road and went right across, and Swift Lumber was across the street. And we watched that thing just blow up, and literally with the tornado hitting it, and we were all standing out there like not smart people, a couple, maybe 100 yards away from it. Those timbers could go right through us and everything else from that, but we're amazed at it, and that's what happens with today. A lot of folks got these things, okay? They got video cameras and everything, and they want to stand out there and videotape it and put it up on YouTube.
Yes, they do.
What do you recommend that?
Very dangerous thing to do. I can't, I mean, whatever I say is not going to stop them. They're going to do it anyway, but I just hope that they're responsible enough. If they want to risk their lives, that's fine, but my part of this in educating the people is if you're responsible for your family, you're the leaders of your family, take care of your children, make sure that they're in the right spot that they need to be, and then if you want a chance at yourself, go for it, but it's not what you need to be doing.
Well, I want to go over this one more time, and this is off the NOAA website here. We were looking at it before we went on the air. For the 6-month hurricane season, which begins on June 1st, 3 days from now, NOAA's Atlantic Hurricane Season Outlook says there is a 70% likelihood of 13 to 20 named storms, winds of 39 miles per hour or higher, of which 7 to 11 could become hurricanes, winds of 74 miles per hour or higher, including 3 to 6 major hurricanes, category 3, 4, and 5, winds of 111 miles per hour or higher. So, one.
Yeah.
Okay, one only hit for Katrina. One only hit. No, I'll take that back. When Ivan hit, there were 5 hurricanes that year that came through, because it was up Florida and Alabama and Georgia were just inundated with hurricanes that year. But that's unusual. But all we need is one hurricane to upset everybody's day. And when you're talking winds of excess of 70 miles an hour, Stick your head out. No, don't.
don't
Don't do
don't
it.
encourage them.
Yeah. Try to hold a stick out the window going 70 miles an hour in your car. Okay? And either the stick will break or it will be very hard to hold. And you're not going to stand up in that. And things are blowing. And if you let that blow, it's going to go into something. And that's what you got to be aware of. Everything as small as a small little planter that you have outside that's not, buried in the ground, or these things that you stick in the ground, okay, out there, these little lights, the reflecting, or not reflecting, but solar lights, they're dangerous, okay, because those things can get pulled up out of the ground and they become knives and darts, is what they become. So be aware of even those simplest things that are out there. The going back to this, the climate factors that strongly control the Atlantic hurricane activity includes a strong West African monsoon that is responsible for the ongoing era of high activity for the Atlantic hurricanes that began in 1995. Warmer than average water temperature in the tropical Atlantic Ocean and Caribbean and El Nino is not expected to develop and suppress hurricane formation. So all the things are in line for this to happen. So prepared.
Prepared. And if we don't get a direct hit on hurricanes, they still spawn several tornadoes, and you just need to be prepared.
Well, we're going to talk about tornadoes because that's been something that's real recent, and not just out in Oklahoma, but even here in Alabama, where just 2 years ago, tremendous tragedy struck up in North Alabama. We'll be talking about that as well because you got involved in that a little bit as well. Not a little bit, a lot. And there's been some changes that are coming down with communications and how things are happening with all this. And we'd like to talk to you about that when we come back.
Okay.
All right? Remember what you say when you're sitting there?
Keep it real.
Keep God in it. Susan Harris. I got it. We'll be right back with us. God bless. Good morning and welcome back to Good News right here on WKNI TV 25. And we're here with Susan Harris from the EMA office here locally in Covington County. And we say EMA office, okay, EMA director, EMA office. What is the EMA?
Emergency Management Agency.
All right, and then from that, you're governed by who?
The local commission.
Which, okay, explain that one. I was going somewhere else, but local commission.
That's you said who I'm governed of. That's my bosses.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you mean?
Never mind. I was not going there. But over that, there's a state EMA.
Yes.
Okay.
You go from your local EMA to your state EMA, which is Alabama Emergency Management Agency, and then you go to your FEMA, which is the federal emergency management.
And how do they, get involved? I mean, people sit there and they go, FEMA, look out, FEMA's in town. Do you get that?
Yes.
Do you get that? Oh, I'm not going to work with them. They're going to, know all my private stuff, and they're, conspiracy theories is what they go by. I got a spot on my glass. I hate that. I'm looking at you going. But FEMA is a good thing, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. You have to jump through loops to get it activated, but I mean that's just part of it. But they do help in different situations. No, they don't help if we have a small tornado come through and maybe one house has a little damage. They're not going to assist every time there's damage to a house. But when you're talking about major disasters, they do bounce in and they do help.
Is it easy to work with the other agencies above you?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's no conflict. The reason I'm asking this is you see on these different social pages and things where, oh no, they're coming to town, they're going to cause trouble and this, that, and the other thing. That's not true.
No. State EMA will not enter Covington County not unless I ask them to. And then when I ask, they are always there to help us in any way that we need. They
can't just come in and take over.
No.
And you're still running the show.
Yes. Even when they're here, I'm still in charge and make sure that people in Covington County have what they want.
I wanted to get that rumor out of the way because, it's important to know that our local person is in the capacity of making sure that we, the citizens of this community, are taken care of.
Right.
And that's a heck of a responsibility.
It is.
I mean, I remember back during the heavy rains and stuff here a few months back, and all the damages to the roadways, and you were out there really trying to get the federal money in and the
Hmm.
state money in, and asking people to, contact you and tell them what kind of damage is done.
Right.
Are people cooperative on that?
Oh yeah. A lot of people just don't know that I need that information, and this is why I do this kind of thing. But when you do have damage, it needs to be reported, because those dollar figures, and as I hate it that way, but you have to have a certain amount of damage before assistance can be brought in. So, and you may not need it or want it, but it may help somebody else that
Right.
they can get it.
Well, if your shingles are blowing off the roof or your tiles are blowing off the roof, you got a little bit of damage out there. It may be only a couple of $1,000s in damages, but if everybody reports that, it
Right.
becomes one group, and then the
Right.
ones that really want the help can get the help.
Right.
And what kind of help do they provide?
Well, first of all, you have to go through your insurance company. Whatever your insurance company does not cover, there's assistance through either loans or, depending on the disaster and what we have available, they may get that free money from FEMA that they can rebuild, or a place to live, or for temporary housing, or something like that. I mean, it just depends on the disaster.
Horn Hill. Well, remember that?
Yes, I remember
Okay,
that.
I remember. Boy, I almost ran you over, I think,
Yeah,
out
I
there.
think you did.
Yeah, I'm sitting there driving up, and we got to Horn Hill grocery store, and you couldn't see that far in front of you, and that was you tapping on my fender as I was going by. Eddie, stop! But that was bad.
That is the most hail I've ever seen.
Now that
I've
was
been
hail, not hell.
Yeah, working in 15 years of EMA, I've never seen anything like
It was
that.
amazing.
It was like it had snowed.
Yeah, and the what do they call that? The condensation that built up because of the temperature variation, and it
Made
was
the
a fog. Okay, and you could not see a thing, and it was like you drove into this fog bank. Oh, it'll be just a few feet. The entire area that was hit over there in Horn Hill, you could not see, and the people that live over there know exactly what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about. And
And it did a lot of damage to their homes and
this
vehicles.
is where FEMA came in, right? Nope.
That,
Why?
because there wasn't enough damage.
Seriously?
Seriously.
Wow.
Yep.
I-
That was a local event.
Okay.
There was not any other counties around us really that had any
I got
any
you.
damage. That was just
so it's focused in one area. Okay, I understand, because then I remember the mud and the water and all that happened to the roads. It had to be a lot of money that was out there that was lost.
Okay, well, there's two different monies too. When you're talking about roads and bridges,
I'm glad she's here.
that's a different story until individual assistance, which is your homes and personal properties and vehicles. They're two different systems.
So it's not all combined into one pot.
And we've gotten the roads and bridges a lot more than we have gotten the individual assistance.
Wow. That's good to know, because it's important to know, as we found out, to have insurance on your home.
Oh yeah.
And we had that fire October 10th last year, and if it wasn't for the insurance, we wouldn't be talking to you right now, because it was very expensive to get things taken care of. And I got to throw my plug out to Ron Knoll out there at State Farm. They've done a great job with us on that as well. But all right, so now let's talk about tornadoes for a second.
Okay.
Tornadoes are unpredictable in most cases. Now, they have this little loop thing that they see on radar, and then they sit there and they say, that's going to be a tornado or can be a tornado.
Right.
Now I'm starting to hear more and more that there's a tornado on the ground without a visual sighting of it. Somehow they're able, National Weather Service is able to sit there and say, there's enough rotation that's on the ground or something.
And they also have more information, where that tornado began. They may have some call-ins that, we have it down on the ground and just know that the path is going to remain on the ground. And they may go by that too.
You went to Birmingham, or in Tuscaloosa, I'm assuming, up in that area. I didn't. I stayed away from there, because no need to go up there when there's that kind of stuff and get in people's way. The visual devastation was bad enough, looking at all them buildings and everything just piled up like garbage piles and just totally things wiped off. The pictures that we saw in the video. A lot of people didn't know this, and you probably saw it with your own eyes. The trench that was dug by that tornado going across the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I heard in places it was 6 foot deep.
I've only seen pictures of it. I haven't seen it in person of the trench, but yes, it's.
I mean, that's taller than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sucked up the dirt off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It went through cemeteries and pulled bodies out,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and tossed them all over the countryside. People don't realize the suction on there.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing they say, well, I was told, and I'm glad I saw this on, I don't know if it was a Weather Channel, but it was just recently, somebody ran a program that said the fable of opening up a door or a window for a tornado or a hurricane. That's not a good thing to do.
It used to be what they promoted to do for the airflow to go through, but they do not recommend because there's been more people hurt running to a window to lift it and the glass or the damage or things flying in. They've been hurt more doing that than it has actually helped, in the situation.
Well,
so they say just get to your safe place and stay there.
Well, they said also in this video that it actually causes more damage to the house
wind.
inside because it actually puts more pressure in the house when there's low pressure outside, and it lets the house explode easier.
It depends on where your windows are to your
Yeah.
house. It may have, and that's why houses are just built different now than
Right.
they were. But at one point, if you get the
Well, they're
flow
cinder
going
block
through.
and sturdy homes. Now they're not quite that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to ask people, or ask you, how we can, what items we should have just off the top of your head, and should have in stock. Most importantly to me, medications.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you have to have all this other stuff to go along with it, and how many days we should prepare to be without.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back right after these messages. Remember,
Keep it real.
keep God in it. We'll be right back right after this. Good morning and welcome back to WKNI TV 25 Good News segment. We have Miss Susan Harris with us this morning, our local EMA director, and we're talking about not too good of things right now. We're talking about hurricanes and tornadoes. They're a fact of life here in South Alabama and all across Alabama, actually, in the Gulf Coast. We're talking about hurricane safety and that this is being predicted to have one of the pretty active year, moderately, and there's all the right settings for it weather-wise. And I asked you, what did you think about that? You said the only thing I can tell you is be prepared.
That's right.
Be prepared.
That's right.
And in a tornado, the same thing. Be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Any natural disaster, be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about a few things that are necessary to be prepared. And one was weather radio.
Mm-hmm.
And weather radio being that it's not connected to anything locally. It's all outside the area that's being affected. So therefore you'll get accurate information.
Right.
Then what?
You need to have at least 3 days supplies of water. And you really have to look at your home and your situation about how much you need, how many people you have there, your canned food, can opener, things that we don't think about because we're not used to kind of sacrificing or having issues. We turn on the light switches or
Right.
turn on the electric can openers or whatever, but hand can opener, any, like you said, things that are personal that that you can't go weeks without, such as your medicines, and just have things that entertain kids. That's a biggie, to make sure that you have things. Most kids, they're entertained by your electrical
Right.
equipment. They need things that they entertain them on.
Facebook junkies are in trouble.
Yeah, they're gonna die.
You didn't say that, did you?
Yeah, they're just gonna die. Oh.
Oh, yeah, boy. Sorry for you guys. Bye.
Yeah. And we're not going to know when they get their showers and they go brush their teeth. and
That's
stuff,
amazing.
But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But just things to make sure that you're comfortable as you can, and you have to have those supplies. Yes, I bring in water and ice and
Ice
tarp.
is very important.
Ice is very important, but you have to take care of yourself for 3 days, because I cannot have anything here any quicker than that. Even if there's things out there for me to get, such as water and ice. There's 3 days I know I will not have that here in Covenant County for you. So you have to take care of yourself.
And the ice vending machines that are so prevalent around the area, guess what? Not going to be working because no power.
Right.
So, you know, these are important things. Ice is very important. I remember how people back in Ivan that were fighting over, you know, bags of ice and how it was so important because it's muggy, it's hot, and you know, you're not going to have, you know, the comforts of home at all.
Right.
You're going to have, maybe some have damaged homes and not want to leave their home because they don't want people, you know, coming through and taking their personal belongings. And that happens as well. Law enforcement is going to be stretched. Emergency personnel is going to be stretched. So, you know, you've got to prepare. I love this, Cole.
I know.
I'm telling you. This is just... Anyway, you've got to take care of yourself, as you say.
Right.
Now, medications are very important. Get with your doctors, okay? Get that extra supply. Right now is the time to go do it. Okay, get a month extra. That's what I do.
And just stay ahead.
If I can quit coughing, maybe I won't have to worry about it. But you get the medication. You make sure you got it. If you got insulin, make sure you have a way to store insulin, okay, because that's very important. If you have any temperature-sensitive medications, make sure you have a way to take care of it.
That's right.
Let's see. Generators, okay? Folks, very important. And you know this, and you probably would have said this before me. Your power's off. You're going to come up and say, you know what, I just thought of an Einstein. I'm going to keep my whole house on power, and I'm going to reverse plug my generator into the wall socket and have power in the whole house. All right, don't do that. That'll kill somebody that's working on the power lines, because coming from your house, it'll go into the power lines, and we'll have Covenant Cooperative come on here, or one of them from Power South, and talk about that. But do not power your house up with a generator that's not with a breaker switch. It separates it from the outside electricity. You got a lineman that goes up there. He knows the power's off all over the place at the substations, and all of a sudden, bam.
Right. And they're so good to working with the public. All you have to do is call them saying, you know, this is what I want to do, you know, when you come out, and make sure this is right. I mean, it's a way of, again, preparing before it actually happens. During a hurricane, no, they're not going to be able to come out there and make sure it's done right. But prior to, yes, they'll have time to make sure it's done safely, because they, you know, want you safe and their employees safe also.
Well, oxygen, you know, you got to make sure you have plenty of oxygen for those that are on need of it. A lot of folks have them oxygen generating things, and they'll say, oh, I don't need to worry about that. Yeah, you do. How are you going to charge it?
Right.
Okay. It's battery operated. You got to make sure. Lots of little things people don't think about. Gas in your car. Make sure you got gas. Okay. If you've got bathtubs in your house and sinks, fill them up. Bleach. Very important. Okay. Bleach you can use to actually chlorinate the water. Okay, and clean it before you drink it.
Right.
And
Possibly some cash also.
oh yeah, yeah. The ATMs are going to be off. You have cash, and you have.
Because I never have that.
I never have enough to worry about it.
Swapper, so I swipe.
I am. Anyway, let's go this way. Where were we at?
I don't know, supplies. You know what you need.
Right.
You know what your sources are, and also, like I said, this is the time to stop and think about it.
Think about it. If you have if you don't have any plans for flooding, because that's going to be a key issue in low-lying areas. Know where everything's at. Flashlights. Okay, these
Other
are
than
no-brainers.
candles.
Yeah,
No candles.
no candles, for crying out loud, if you can possibly help it. Gas. Have a way to turn your gas valve off.
And make sure everybody in the family knows how to do that.
Right. And what I did when I lived out in California briefly, and when we had gas over here, is I bought a wrench, and I actually had the wrench on the valve and had it wired to it. So all you had to do is turn that thing. That wrench stayed there.
Right.
Okay, and just in case you had a fire or something happened. California, it was almost mandatory to have those because of earthquakes.
Right.
And
being able to turn them off quickly.
exactly. And but anyhow, this tornado that went through Oklahoma here this past week, devastating for children, devastating for the schools. We had Teddy Watson on here and the mayor the other day, and you just can't prepare for a Category 5 hurricane.
No, I mean, you can prepare and you can do the best that you can and get in the situation that you need to be in, but yeah, there's still going to be damage and still going to be deaths because it's just powerful.
Well, as somebody said, I think it was Mike Jones said here, there's just some things you can plan all along for, and then Mother Nature's just going to have her way.
Right.
But the most important thing is to be planned because these are rare, what's going on. And the reality is that a Category 1, 2, or 3 hurricane is more than likely to hit this area this year than it has been in the past.
Right.
And that's, the truth. So prepare. If they need to get more information,
they can call me at the office. It's 428-2670, or we're on Hillcrest Drive, which is the administrative building. We're all the way on the right, all the way in the back.
So you've moved your office again on me.
No, we've been over there from...
Well, you were over by the sheriff's office.
Yes, we moved from over there to the other side where the water authority used to be.
That's right. I went down there looking for you one day, and you weren't there. You were busy. In fact, that was during one of the flood situations that we had a while back. But, Susan, we appreciate you coming on and sharing the information with our viewers. And, folks, remember, the best way to get through a hurricane or a tornado situation is be prepared. Expect it. Expect the worst. Prepare for the worst, and you won't regret it.
Yeah. And what's it going to hurt to be prepared?
Not a thing. Not a thing. Ms. Harris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you.
You too.
And we appreciate you.
Thank
Folks, keep it real. Keep God in it. I done her job that
know.
time. Go ahead and say it.
Keep it real.
Keep God in it.
Thank
We'll
you.
be back with more. Oh, no, we won't. We're headed out. This is it. We're done. Right, Ron?
I'm gone.
Yep. See ya. No, you're not. We're going to stay here for
I'm
another
gone.
10 minutes. But thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all tomorrow.